to drive it for a bit?
Yes, it is. That's making a bit of a creak on the right side when I'm steering, so it sounds like a ball joint. Also, looks like we're gonna replace the turbo, because the turbo is making some noise that doesn't sound very happy. I mean, it's probably the original turbo. What are we at? We're at 200,000 Ks now, so look after her. She's a beautiful, beautiful car.
Drive safe.
See you soon.
Oh, hello. What's up, YouTube? I feel like this is like a GoPro version of a Twitch stream. So we're gonna drive Pheasantwood Circuit because I'm not actually allowed to drive Pheasantwood Circuit at the moment. We're driving a WDTS car, which we're bogging out, aren't we? See, there you go, not enough power. Street car. It's like a street car with bolt-ons. Let's just say like 220 kilowatt probably. Wow, with a hydro setup. As you can see, SR, nugget. Come on, ride balls. I want to ride balls. No! Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. But when in doubt, power up.
That's it.
Facts. Alright, let's put you in this. Let's see how you go. Alright, we have a professional race car driver right here. She's gonna get it. Are you gonna get it, Jess?
I'm gonna get it.
She's gonna get it. Just drive it, Jess. You know what the best piece of advice I could give anybody that drifts? Drive it like it's an actual car.
Oh, like an actual car.
So think about it, yeah. Like if you're coming into a corner, how would you wanna?
Not good. There we go.
When you come to a corner, like how would you actually want to clutch gear? Or like handbrake? A feather. See? Yeah, much better. Straight away.
Second. There we go.
Much better.
That was first again. Oh my goodness. This is terrible.
It's not terrible. Yeah, Mundy!
Okay, here we go.
Oh, that was fast.
Oh, fuck that. I was like, oh my god! Hell yeah, girl, get it.
I'm so sorry, Chaser. Okay.
This track, to be fair, this track isn't easy, like, even in real life.
Whoop.
Boom! Oh,
you
hey!
went through the wall.
Hell yeah! It looks really good on the DSLR with the lights and everything.
Hello!
Hey, get it, girl. So that actually is a piece of Cyber Evo. So in the crash, the final crash, that was Ian Baker gave it to me. One of Ayrton Senna's turbos.
Oh, really?
Sitting on the desk.
I remember playing Ayrton Senna on Sega Mega Drive.
Chick chat.
This chick chat.
Chick chat.
Chick chat. Chick chat with you guys. Chick chat with you guys. Let's get it. What's up, YouTube?
Hey.
Woo!
Chick chat.
Chick chat, yeah, well the
Yes.
boys aren't invited.
Welcome to our chick chat.
Yes, welcome. No boys are in this right now. They have left the building.
Is Nori a boy?
Nori's a boy.
Nori's a boy.
Nori's a boy. But he looks like a girl, so I don't know. I'm a bit confused. It's a bit of a party. Pink party over there. By the way, shout out to our sponsors. Australian Drift Club. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
They hold crazy ass events. So they hold basically wet pans at Sydney Motorsport Park currently, and also they hold peanut events where you are able to dry drift. And now they're getting into competitions, so they will be basically holding, I think there was like one that was Wet Pan Warriors, which was kind of cool and kind of unique.
Round 2's coming up in January.
So definitely get onto that if you haven't already checked it out.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. It's a party! We're running out of battery!
Okay.
Thanks, Nori, for the interruption. So one of the things that I wanted to like ask another female is, you know, what is the biggest kind of challenge you face being a female in a male-dominated kind of sport?
the self-doubt of thinking what other people out there are looking at you and what they're thinking. So for example, you know, you get the typical guys that are out there that are looking at the chick going, oh, hey, where's your partner or your husband or your boyfriend that can go, you know, park in the pit lane for you, you know, sort of thing. Because there's that typical stereotype of women in motorsport, it's not a done thing sort of thing. Women can't drive or, you know, that sort of stuff. But then for me, it's fighting with, you know, my brain going, no, I can drive. I can park in that pit lane and I can probably do it better.
Hey. And that's what I think I like to hear, especially from like coming from another female.
What about you?
What about me? Okay. So I find the biggest thing that I've kind of faced in terms of challenges, I've faced many challenges. Let's just say that there's more than one. I feel like sometimes my audience, you know, because I do have like a following base at the moment, and I've been trying to kind of build a community of people that are interested in builds and everything genuinely for the builds, not trying to attract the wrong kind of attention either.
Yeah.
Finding genuine audience that actually wants to watch me for me and not because of ulterior motive.
Correct.
That is like the biggest problem. Like, I understand it can be somewhat of an advantage if you want to look at it that way, being a female in a male-dominated industry, but it's also, for me, I feel like it's been more of a challenge. Sometimes I wish to myself, you know, if I was a guy, the people that are watching me that are men would just value my build and not just like focus on the fact that I'm a female. I don't really mind being in a social context, being around other guys that drive, etc. I feel like maybe some guys do get intimidated by a female being able to drive.
Definitely.
Takes a hit on the ego sometimes.
It does.
Yeah. So,
but you know what? It also goes the other way.
100%.
100%. We're sitting there kicking ourselves.
We're more intimidated usually.
Yes.
But sometimes nice to be like, hey, we can drive. You know, I think putting us on an even playing field is best.
Yeah.
You know, I believe so.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of deserve that equal opportunity, and that is what Australian Drift Club is currently trying to do.
Correct.
So thank you so much again, Australian Drift Club, for evening out that playing field and making a great community for women to basically be able to drive and drift, etc.
Correct.
So thank you again. Mustachio question.
Let's see it. What do you think would be your dream car that you probably may not be able to get the opportunity to own, but maybe if you're lucky one day you will?
I'd say an NSX Type R.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did a podcast about this, Miss Manual podcast. If you guys haven't heard it, you should check it out. It's on Spotify and Anchor. I would say NSX Type R, it is extremely rare to find one out there. I think they only made 500 of them. So I've always wanted to travel to Japan, drive an NSX Type R on some sort of Japanese mountain that I want to buy. I want to test drive one and I want to ship it back. Yeah, so that was kind of the dream goal. I like to say goal because I still do want to do that one day. Like, there's a lot of little things on the bucket list that I feel like I need to accomplish before I die.
In fact, you can actually do that exact thing. So you can do it. There's a place called Hakone, which is right near Mount Fuji. They have cars that come in and out they probably change them every sort of 12 months or so. But they actually have had a Honda NSX there. I don't know if it's the specific one that you'd like to drive. You hire the cars, you pay for the day or a couple of hours even, and you can drive up and down, which is Mount Hakone, which is where Initial D is actually, those roads of Initial D are based off Hakone.
Yeah. What about yourself?
What about me? So my dream car would be, the one that I probably never will get to own is probably the Lexus LFA, so V10.
Oh. Why can't you own that?
I have touched one. I have touched one, and when I say touched it, it was in the museum and in Japan, and it had the ropes. You're not allowed to touch it, and
you broke that rule though.
I was very naughty, and I went choop choop, and I went boop. So I've officially touched one.
Oh, yeah. I haven't even touched an NSX Type R.
And what about your realistic dream car? So obviously, you've got Mia and you've got Nori, is there another car, now that you've obtained these ones, is there another car that you're like, you know what, that's going to be my next thing?
Well, I'm not too sure if your viewers do know who Mia and Nori is. They're probably thinking they're my kids, but no. Well, kind of. Basically, I have this 180SX behind me, which is called Nori. This is my drift car, and this will be a K-swapped drift car, which is like literally my dream. So it's coming true. And then behind this car, basically I have a 96 Type X, which was imported from Japan in 2018. And I finally got her back after a year, and I'm super excited because she drives like a dream. So that was the Italian thing in you, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Bellissimo! This is gonna sound so weird. I want a Zenki S14. Really bad. I want a Zenki. I don't know what it is in me. It's just calling my name. It's just, I don't know what it is about S chassis. They've got me hooked. They're like Toyotas for you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like all Nissans, but the S chassis is just like something that's just draws me in. What about you?
For me, so obviously I have a JZX 100 Chaser that is now retired from drifting. So that was my first dream car that I sort of didn't know if I was going to get to own. My next dream car that would maybe be realistic but didn't really think I'd get to own was a JZX 90 Mark II. So I've been lucky enough to be able to purchase one of those, and it is in pristine stock standard condition, and that's how it's going to stay. So the next one for me that I'm hoping will become a reality maybe in the next 5 to 8 years is to purchase the 5-litre V8 that are in the Lexus ISFs.
Ooh.
Yep. And put that into an X30 chassis. So I do have a thing for Toyotas. I'm a bit of a Toyota purist. I do have a big thing for X chassis. So X30s are from the late 70s to early 80s. They're probably the not so desired shape of an X chassis, but they did come in a Chaser and a Mark II and a Cressida. So I would love to get my hands on one, preferably a 2-door, and put that 5-litre V8 in that engine bay.
So badass. Food is here. We're just going to take a brief intermission, and we will be back after our noodles. And we're back from our brief intermission of eating soba noodles with lots of interesting proteins on top. If you haven't tried poke bowls, you should.
Very delicious.
Very nice.
What got you into motorsport?
My dad taking me to Western Sydney International Dragway, which is now just Eastern Creek Dragway, on Wednesday nights when I was in my early teens. And it was just me and my dad, and we'd go there and we'd check out, it used to be $50, you'd turn up, and you could take your streetcar or whatever. There was people that turn up with full-blown, top fuelers and stuff like that. And I think that's sort of where it started. It probably wasn't until I met Wayne, who is my husband, that I branched off full Toyota. Met the boys from Rad Rollers Car Club with their old school Corollas that they were doing all these crazy ass engine swaps and stuff. And then that brought me into the world of Japan and drifting. But to be fair, drifting is not actually my preferred motorsport. Yeah.
So what actually is it?
Toge.
Oh,
yes.
Snap.
Yes. What about you, Tiana?
Look, what got me into motorsports? Okay. From a young age, I was exposed to it from my parents mainly. They were into like Holdens and a whole bunch of stuff. They would take me to auto salons back in those days. Yep. Sex spec days, if you're familiar. Look it up, Americans. It's not what it sounds like. You have to look it up. Australian sex spec. You will understand it's like Pimp My Ride, but like way more intense. My two older brothers, they were kind of like into the scene a little bit, but not as heavy as like, I am now. They kind of just had like a WRX, and my other brother had a DC5 Integra, and I like fell in love with it. So I think that's where that kind of love for Hondas grew. When I was about like maybe 15 years old, I decided to get my first Honda, and then when I first got my Honda, I was like tinkering with the car and just spraying rims or something. Back then that was kind of like cool when you're 16 years old, like, and you just got your L's and you're like, oh my god, I got a like base model DC5, I want to like black out the rims. I guess like my parents were like, why do you like cars so much? And then it took them like maybe like 2 years to really be like, you know what, she's like super passionate about this and she's not going to give it up. Like, let's just accept it and embrace it and help her through this journey. So like my dad would come down and like teach me a few things about like certain tools, and like then I got a job in Autobahn. I begged them for 1 year. I went in there like adamantly. I was like, I need a job here. I need a job here. And eventually they got so sick of me that they finally gave me a job. The passion grew, and I spent a lot of kind of nights just at Silverwater Automotive Services with, I call him like my shop dad. I'd spend a lot of time with Adrian Norton, just like hanging out and building motors. Instead of going out, that was my kind of like go-to, kind of where that happened. And then I started to do kind of K-swaps in my garage, and then it got more advanced, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to YouTube this, and this is where we are right now.
And that's what drove you to put a Honda motor in the 180, I suppose?
Yeah, so I came from like a front-wheel drive background, but since I was probably about 16, since Tokyo Drift really came out, I think that was like a big inspiration for a lot of car enthusiasts, especially at such a young age. That inspired me. But I had this massive epiphany one day. I just woke up. I was building my DC2 K-swap, which I've actually done a few videos on my channel of. And I was spending like so many like days, so many nights like getting this together. I sourced every single thing for this shell. I like basically restored the whole car. Like it was like a DC2 Type R, and I was like, I'm gonna make this super clean, like shave the bay, put it all in myself. Like I want to do everything top to bottom. And I got it to a point where it was like running, and I was like, you know what? I'm not happy with the paint. So I pulled everything apart, and then I just woke up one day and I was like, you know what? I am sick of front-wheel drive cars. I'm going to follow my 16-year-old passion. Yeah, I'm going to follow my 16-year-old passion and go ahead and buy myself a 180SX. And because I came from the whole, I want a Type R, not the base model, I need a Type R, I was like, automatically, I need a Type X because I'm not going to go for the base model. And that's where Mia came into the picture 3 years ago. And then ever since then, I've been literally addicted to the cars that bring me so much pain. What's so rewarding about working on a car and seeing it done? Do you feel like more connected to the car? Because I know for me, like, you feel like super accomplished. Like I was sanding this car, like you saw it, and it's like, that was mostly done then too, in terms of sanding. But I stripped out all the sound deadening and everything in this car, and this car did not look, like that engine bay looked very bad. Yeah. Like you saw how much dirt we were scraping off those rails.
Yeah.
So like seeing that evolve from like one thing to another, like you feel a lot more connected, don't you think?
Correct. You form a bond.
Yes.
You form a bond.
Become sentimental.
Yes. So I have a very, very sentimental attachment to the Chaser. And it wasn't until one day I was at Toyo Fest in Dubbo, and I actually looked up and saw a Chaser and went, I have to have one. Treasuring and valuing what it is as a car, you know, the heart of the 1J, you know, the long X chassis wheelbase, you know, looking at how it's designed and what engineering Toyota put into that kind of a car just made me value it a lot more than the dollar value that what you paid for it. The littlest stone chip breaks my heart.
I know that feeling.
Like the JDM market has skyrocketed so much that the dollar value that you put on the Chaser is quite high. You know, but the thing is my value for that car is so much more than that dollar value.
The sentimental value.
Yeah, and it's that specific Chaser.
Yeah.
It's just that specific one.
There could be 100, but just that one.
If you could say something to another female that's wanting to get into motorsport but is a bit unsure or shy or something like that, what would you say to them?
There's never ever going to be a right time for something. And the thing is if you feel it within you and you know that it feels right, you follow it. Follow it, because usually your gut instinct, like whatever it is that you're feeling, yeah, this feels right, I want to do this, will take you into the right path that you want to follow. So if motorsport is something that you want to do as a female, get out there.
Yeah.
have a go.
Patience is definitely a virtue, especially when it comes to any type of passion, not just motorsport. I'm talking even in a business. If you try to jump from 0 to 100, you'll fall on your ass quicker.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to like slowly build yourself up and accept that there are going to be failures. Don't give up when you do fail. Is to take on like some sort of mentor or like, I don't know, maybe jump into like a female group. There's plenty of like help out there, and like I said at the beginning of this video, Australian Drift Club is starting to kind of bring women together in that industry. So either way, if you're watching this video and you are a female and want to discuss something with us, feel free to hit us up. You know, building a community around you, especially like in the motorsport industry, is probably one of the most valuable things you can do.
And be a part of that community.
Yes, which I kind of miss because I haven't been out there for a while, so I'm kind of feeling it right now.
So when are you going to be on the track, Tiana, do you think?
Good question.
When are we going to bang doors, Tiana? Your beautiful
Anytime.
doors.
Hit the glitter bombed Nori now. Look, I'm prepared to crash. So anytime. We just bought a new body kit thing today for like super cheap, so I'm hoping the case swap will be done. I'd say I want it done by my birthday next year, which is like June, mid-June. So I'm hoping to have it done probably May.
Yep.
Now we're in what, November?
Yep.
So that's like probably about 5 months, 6 months from now.
Yep.
That's when I'm hoping to get back out there and bang doors.
Bang doors.
Bang doors. What about you?
Me, hoping we can be there in January.
Woo!
Fingers crossed. Now the car will not, like the Cosmic Crusader will not look that pretty. We'll work on that.
Don't worry, you should have seen V1.
But I think that mechanically wise, it should be good to go. So I'm hoping to make that first Women's in Drifting event, which is in January. Fingers crossed.
I'll be there, I just won't be drifting. Well guys, I think we are going to do one last walk around the cars while Jess is here. We'll quickly get this kind of wrapped up. No pun intended. One day. Oh, it's a cheat. Wait, stop looking like a girl.